in order to be a Democrat in Galivants Ferry. By the way, we welcome everybody, like John Monroe says. We are not prejudiced. We're glad to have you here. Tonight, I believe there's a new spirit in the air. It's only begun to stir. In fact, I just got wind of it a couple of weeks ago at the National Convention when Al Gore, that fine Southern senator, accepted his nomination, his party's nomination for the Vice Presidency of the United States. Now, on that occasion, Senator Gore said, everything we do as Democrats must be done in the context not only of our linkage to one another as human beings, but in the overriding context of our linkage to the earth. He said we must do this not only for the sake of the earth, but for the sake of all the generations who will come after us. Now, with the senator's statement in mind, let me take just a few more seconds to evoke this new democratic spirit. And let me evoke it by telling you about another story, another scene from Galivants Ferry. This scene is from a much simpler and a much more earth-centered time than these days. It's a scene, in fact, that my Aunt Elizabeth Allen from Florence, is she here tonight? I know her children are. She used to evoke this scene so vividly in her published writing back in the 1930s and 1940s. And Elizabeth, I learned a lot from that wherever you are. I learned a lot about Galivants Ferry. It's also a scene very much like a photograph I saw recently of my Aunt Flora Mae McLeod standing in the middle of the old wood bridge that used to cross the Little Petey River back here, standing in the middle of that bridge with a whole host of Horry County people in 1922. That was the year that Flora Mae was elected Palma Festa Queen, which made her, in effect, the first woman from Horry County to become Miss South Carolina. And we're glad to have Flora Mae here. She's sitting right there. But this particular scene doesn't come from Flora Mae or Elizabeth. This scene comes from Miss Carrie Doyle of Aynor. Back in those years, there was a dozen or more families living over there in the thicket. And Carrie remembers that every Sunday afternoon, about this time of day, all the women in the thicket, all the women from all over Galivants Ferry, would gather at the bridge behind us here, the old wood bridge that Flora Mae sit on, and they would go for a Sunday afternoon walk. There'd be some 25, some 30 people. It's 30 women. Women from the thicket, women from all over. And they'd be dressed in their Sunday best. And this time of year, that'd be long white dresses, hats with ribbons and flowers in it. And they would cross that narrow bridge and walk that narrow dirt road all the way, sometimes to Errol's Crossroads and back. And they'd get back here before dark. Just as simple as that. No men, no highway, and for a long time, no automobiles, Carrie says. Just the dirt road, the green swamp, and the women of old Galivants Ferry, celebrating their linkage to one another and to the earth in all its glory. This double linkage that we have to the earth and all the peoples of the earth is what this new democratic spirit is about. Therefore, in conclusion, let me invoke this spirit tonight on the eve of these elections. And let's evoke it along with the old fighting spirit. And let's combine it. And let's rid this beautiful homeland of the spoilers and the defilers and the scavengers. And finally, in the words of those who were here centuries before us, let us walk across South Carolina in a sacred manner, so that in another 70 years, our grandchildren can celebrate their linkage to one another, and their linkage to the earth, and their linkage to all creation, even as our grandparents did all those years ago in old Horry County. Welcome to Galivants Ferry.